Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it.
Hello, ladies and gentlefish! We are back once again. It is Wednesday, and we are working on our art streams. It is February, so we are doing Funguary, our month devoted to mushrooms and fungi. So if you're keen for that, hang around and watch our funky mushrooms wiggle. We're going to be doing some drawing, some animations, various different things. We're going to start out simple, I think, just because I don't know exactly what I want to do at the moment for Funguary. And I have a day to catch up, so I missed yesterday's. I was busy playing the new Pokemon game and entirely forgot that it was February and that I was supposed to be doing mushroom-based shenanigans. So unfortunately we missed that a little, but that's okay because we are here now, and we can make up some lost time. Hydrate, important. What variety of shroom are we drawing today? I have no idea, Reverse Asian. You could probably say better than I. We have done our previous sexy mushrooms. Let's open a few, just so you guys can get a look in. This one, this one, this one, and this one. This one. There we go. A shiitake. Ooh, yeah, we could do that. So previously we've been working on these pin-up mushrooms, these sexy mushrooms. So this is the last one that we didn't get to finish, but I'm now using a new program. I'm using what's it called? Critter. I'll type it in the chat. It's an open source, free art program, and it's basically like a rival to Photoshop. I have previously been using GIMP, and so we're moving on to hopefully bigger and better things. I've been playing around with it. It's got a few more things in it, and it's a little bit easier to use, but I'm still sort of learning all the things. And unfortunately, the file types don't cross over, so boycott Photoshop. Exactly. I know a lot of people who keep trying to be like, oh, you know, just suck it up and get Photoshop, or they'll be like, you know, you can use my Photoshop because I've got an account, and I'll be like, no, the whole point of not using it is because it's shitty and their model is shitty. Back in the day when you paid for the program and the license all at once and you got to keep it forever, that was fine. But now they're doing this subscription model. I fucking hate it. So I will not be using Photoshop. But yeah, we've also done a few more of these. So we've got the bridal stinkhorn there. We've got these two, a saffron cap and a white cap. We've got the morel stinkhorn. We've got our fly muscaria. And then we've got this one, which I don't actually know. It's not really based off anything in particular, but yeah. Pay to play. Yeah, a little bit. Hate that bullshit. We did a potato. We did a sexy potato off stream for Zone 3 Gamer, because he's a fan of potatoes. So we did a sexy potat. And then I did a Techno Viking while we were offline on a Friday night. And I think this worked out pretty well. I'm liking this. This was all done on this program. Same with the potat. So you see, there's a little bit of difference in how some of it comes across. This is just like the different brushes that you can use. But I liked the functionality of it. It was much more user friendly than GIMP has been in the past. So I don't know if we're going to be doing any more of these sexy mushrooms today. We may do. But I was just going to start with like simple drawing. Just going to do a little bit of mushy drawing. And we'll play around and go from there, I think. I've got my little dancing mushrooms there in the corners. So the idea I potentially had was that we would make something animated again. Lion's mane. Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up. Oh, lion manes are pretty funky. Kind of like weird puff balls. I will show... Where's my webpage? There we go. So this is our lion's mane here. I'm liking the this kind of striation thing going on. There's a few good options here for mushroom designs, and then obviously some shiitakes. So I think something like that. Yeah, we could do a nice mix of these two, I think. Old man's beard. Hey. Alright, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to have, like, a log. And then have our mushies come off it. And the idea I had was to have them be slightly animated. In the same way that my wiggly mushes there are animated, and then we'd have by the end of February, I'd end up with like a whole slew of different like animated mushrooms that I can just like chuck into things and chuck onto the stream. So I think that would be pretty cool. So yeah, if we have like up here a couple of mushrooms. So let's just go in and make this a little bit more detailed. How you doing, by the way? I heard your I heard you defended your thesis, which is exciting. So that's... I am aware that that's a practice you have to do. What is that in the steps of, like, having the thesis be approved and put out to publication and all that? What is that in that step? Is that peer review thing? You're trying to get back into drawing. You should absolutely get into drawing. 2 hours of grueling questioning. Yeah, I can see that being an issue. We used to have questioning for our artworks whenever we did our marking, because I did art at university, and because it's not really something that you can like do an exam for, we had these like interviews with the artwork, and we had like 3 different professors and artists come in and basically grill you about your artwork, and it was fucking painful. So I can imagine that your experience is significantly worse than that. Kind of like peer reviewing. Yeah, okay. And then the process after this would be, what, going to final publication or something? I think I'm going to, actually. So this is going to be my log layer. So let's do that. Log layer. And then we'll have mushies. Color. This will all change. But that'll be the start of it at least. You have 2 examiners, and they ask you questions on why you use certain methods and how you come to the conclusions that you did. And then they deliberate on your outcome. Come to a recommendation. Okay. Interesting. Alright, so these kind of like rounded caps. And quite broad. So if we do... I'm thinking of having like 3 there and then having the lion's mane be here. And given that you successfully defended it, I'm assuming that means that their recommendation was good. Or at least their recommendation was towards you being able to publish. It occurs to me, if these are going to be overlapping and all moving, I actually want them to be on separate layers, not on the same layer. So let's make a series of layers. This can be mush 1, mush 2, mush 3, and this will be the line. Alright, let's get rid of this then. Because, oh, no, wrong one. And then we want to take this, take it off, put it on mush run. That's supposed to be mush one. And this is, delete that layer. There we go. Alright, back on track. It's a recommendation because it's still up to the uni whether you get awarded the PhD or not. Right, that makes more sense. Fair, fair. The uni would only reject if there was a breach of conduct. Well, here's your chance to come clean. Did you bribe anyone? Now I'm just imagining, like, a group of awful people who go around, like, intentionally attempting to bribe the like PhD examiners, specifically so that they can get people's stuff, you know, done on a breach of because all you'd have to do is show that, like, that there was some misconduct. With what money? Yeah, fair. Correct answer. But yeah, that'd totally be a way to get back at, like, some arsehole, some terrible person in your, I don't know, faculty or whatever, who's just been a pain in the ass the entire time, and then when they finally go for their examination, you find out who their examiners are going to be, and then you, like, pretend to bribe them on, or, like, offer them a bribe on the person's behalf, and because you wouldn't even need to take the bribe. You'd just be like, I mean, obviously you personally wouldn't do it, but you'd find someone to do it for you. Because I'm curious what the legalities for it would be, because it's not bribing a legal institution, it's bribing a private institution. So would that be illegal? Is bribery illegal regardless of its context? The answer is probably yes, but, you know, So we're going to put that there because this is going to be the color of the stuff in the background, which isn't going to change. It's basically just going to be this log, and then we're going to add in color to the rest of these. I think that's what we do first. All right, so let's. Oh, that is huge. Still pretty big. There we go. Just fill this in for now. And we'll go in and detail it. Feels weird no longer being a student. Yeah, gonna have to get your life together and shit. I say as someone who, you know, hasn't been a student for a very long time and does not have his life together. I mean, that's not true. I have a bit of it together in some aspects, but that was mostly luck. Most of that was accidental. I'd love to claim credit for it, but honestly, just would not be true. Yeah, agreed. Happy Lunar New Year for yesterday, by the way. For anybody who missed it. Ah, yeah. Year of the Tiger seems exciting. One of our other friends was letting us know that it was Year of the Tiger and that it would be like the opportunity to overcome issues and push towards prosperity. And I was like, ugh, I have to overcome more issues? Wasn't like fucking COVID pandemics enough, and then like all the shit with like having to deal with banks. No, apparently not. You thriving in chaos anyway, so bring it on? Yeah. That's the way to be. Can't go wrong with chaos. Well, you can, actually, but, like... fix my head up a little. Feel like I'm, been leaning closer to this side, so... There you go. I'll pull myself in slightly, I'll be slightly closer to the camera. I think I need a slightly cleaner edge for this outline. Just a little smaller. Trying to be slightly less chaotic. Because you nearly pushed away the one who cared about you the most, apart from your family. Well, that's important then. You want to not push too hard with other people around if you're doing the chaos thing. We have quite a few friends who are chaos bunnies. But, you know, if that's part of who you are, you sort of can't ignore it completely. There's always gonna be an aspect of chaos around if that's, you know, if that's your natural state. Which, you know, for some people it definitely is. There's definitely an aspect of just innate chaos in some folk. You're not saying you'll never be chaotic. Let's just try and contain some of it like Yennefer. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Yennefer's also a cautionary tale, so like maybe not the best role model there, but I can see the point. She might not be the best example. Yeah. Exactly. Triss is too much of a good girl? Yeah. Yeah, that would never go down well. Alright, so that's our log layer pretty much done. Our lion mane's gonna be white, so we'll probably do like a yellowish white. There-ish. Off cream slightly. Lion colour. Hey, there is perfect timing. Self-care, very important. Containing the chaos, self-care. Just fill this in a little. It can be a tough thing though. That's sort of the key with a lot of these things. It's difficult to recognize like how much of it is you being crazy, how much is it the situation being crazy, where to put in, you know, the reasonable boundary, where to put in the hard line, etc., etc. You've been reading a lot about Myers-Briggs indicators. Okay. So what's your Myers-Briggs? What's your 4-letter category? Or is it 5 letters now? INFP or whatever. You're an ENFP, so extroverted. N. What is N? I used to know these. So it's extrovert something. Feelings.
Would you like help?
Perception, and then the T is
Thinking or perceiving.
thinking or perceiving.
Introvert, extrovert.
Perspective.
Intuitive
Intuitive versus what? Versus turbulent, right? There you go. Versus what would the N be?
intuitive.
Oh, it's intuitive. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because they already had an I.
Because they already had an I thing, so they didn't want I. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Little silly, but fair enough. That is Lizzie Bell in the background. She is recovering from various different minor deaths. So
I'm fine.
So she is probably not going to be interacting with the stream all that much. You're watching Buffy? Oh, very good. Your main functions are extroverted intuition, introverted feeling, extroverted thinking, and introverted sensing. Makes sense. Yeah, I found the Myers-Briggs stuff to be fairly good. Like a fairly good marker of like generalized response and capacity to things. Like people, after having done their Myers-Briggs thing, will find that, you know, the category they're in tends to be, you know, pretty indicative of the types of careers or hobbies that they do, and then they can measure some aspect of like their personality traits in it.
It does though have the problem of being overly generalized, so a lot of people feel like they fit into a lot of categories.
Yeah. I was just about to say that people sometimes feel like they fit into multiple categories, or that their category that they're put into doesn't sort of express the entirety of that person, and that actually there's a little bit
more complex.
Yeah, there's a little bit more complexity to it. But yeah, it's reasonable. That's life. It's good to have something that can help categorize your experience in the world, whilst also acknowledging that, you know, it's not the be-all and end-all. And I knew some people who were, like, dated based on their Myers-Briggs thing. They were like, I'll only date, like, an ENFP or like an INF. And I was like, okay, well, that's weird, but go on, I guess. There is the Discord, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to check it out. We've recently learned that when you're stressed, those cognitive functions become inverted, and you basically become the opposite. Interesting. Yeah, stress responses are an interesting one. Because I've known a lot of people who have, like, pretty severe stress responses. So they'll have a personality type or a series of personality traits, which they usually have. And then if you put them in a hyper stressful situation, or even a mildly stressful situation, they suddenly become, like, very different people. And I don't know if it's just that, like, some aspect of them was like that the whole time and they just didn't show it for whatever reason. Or if there was actually something about the stress of whatever the situation was. Because it wasn't just, like, one situation, but, like, in multiple situations they would repeatedly sort of revert to this secondary character to get through the stress of the situation. And yeah, I don't know if that's just that, like, that aspect of them has always been there, they just don't voice it, or whether it's purely a stress-based response and this sort of personality type or personality trait doesn't exist inside them until they, you know, are stressed into it. You don't believe in being in certain Myers-Briggs relationships. You help them to understand why you behave in certain ways. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I think having it as, like, a loose diagnostic tool is probably helpful. The moment you start putting too much stock in it, I think that's when it's like, it's the same thing for, like, people who are really, really, really into astrology and are, like, base their entire personality on which astrology sign they are, and so they like try and make themselves align perfectly with all the things that are supposed to be in that you know, that generalized category. But those people tend to have an issue with mental health anyway, so the astrology is just the manifestation of that issue, rather than the cause, I would think. But yeah, as a diagnostic tool, it's pretty good. There's an accuracy to it, even if it's fairly generalized. So you become a secondary character when you're stressed. Interesting. Alright, so this is Mush 3 color. And then Mush 2 color. And then Mush 1. Coolio. Let's double check what our shiitakes are supposed to look like. Okay, so we've got this like tan brown, slightly darker cap, and little bits of these flecks. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but like bits of the skin peeling up, tags, I guess. Alright, so let's find a applicable brown that we think. Something a little lighter than that. Yeah, that'll do. Down on our color layer, just gonna put in a few of these color variations. Because we want these mushrooms to be approximately the same color. It's not so much secondary character, but you don't recognize who you are because moral compass has been out of alignment. Not enough self-care, fair. So then I start to look at the people around you for guidance and listen to other people's opinions, become even more unrooted. When you get to the point of absolute desperation, you start acting out restlessly, self-sabotage, and then when it's all over, left with a very shattered world. And I'm assuming shattered worldview at that point, because everything would be a little all over the place. Yeah, I get that. That's a tricky one. Sort of made harder by the fact that, like, other people's views of situations and, like, what is important and what you're supposed to do at certain times can be like vastly different depending on the person. Yeah, you can end up in weird situations that you normally would not have. I've been down that path one other time, and that was with your ex. Completely ruined you in 2018. Right. Yeah, I get that. There's a difficulty in those kinds of hyper-stress situations where you don't know what the best action is. And, like, the more you do things, the worse it gets, almost. So now you're going to see a psychologist to work through the issues before you even try to attend romance again. Fair. Yeah, totally fair. Yeah, I'm kind of the mindset. I think it's difficult to say because it comes off as slightly preachy, and most people, like for most people, this isn't the case. So, and like it definitely hasn't been the case for me in the past. So, like it's kind of a little unfair for me to espouse it. But my general thinking is it's better to have yourself in order first and then find someone than it is to go out seeking someone and then try and better yourself afterwards. If you're working on yourself first, there tends to be a better outcome in the relationship. But I'm glad to hear how many of my friends at the moment are very open to the idea of therapy and like going to therapy and working on themselves. Like, that's an awesome thing to hear because I think not enough people do that. It's unfair on the other person? Yeah, to a degree. I mean, everybody has their own shit, so, like, there's gonna be a problem from the other person at some point, regardless of whether they've got their shit together or not. But yeah, there is an element of, like, if you don't have your shit together and you're just lashing out at the other person or you can't control yourself, yeah, there's a bit of like that's not fair and it could end up in an abusive relationship, whether abusive from you or abusive from the other person because they're taking advantage, like that is a thing that happens, and it's a difficult thing to manage because you have to be pretty self-aware of like your own boundaries and your sort of moral compass. And also like your limits of like what you'll sort of subject the other person to as well, because it, two-way street for a lot of these things. But yeah, good first step. Going to seek out some therapy and see if you can work on your own problems. That's awesome. Big props. And finding the support network, like you said, that you've got the friend that you almost pushed away. If you can keep a good support network around you and support them in return, because that's another big thing about, like, we're social animals, so making sure that you are in turn providing that support to other people will help your own mental health, is super important, at least I think. This is coming from someone who is not an expert at all, but likes to talk like I'm one. Problem is, he became so codependent you couldn't separate what was me and what was him. Yeah. That's it. A lot of relationships are like that. Like the dangerous ones, I think, are when both people are codependent on each other. But it can be sort of just as catastrophic if, one person is codependent on the other and then ends up being abused because of it. It's tough. Yeah, and then it gets into the weird thing of like, you know, where ideas come from in those sorts of codependent relationships. I've been in a few myself, and there'll be like issues around certain things will come up, and then, you know, you have a discussion, and the other person will be posturing towards a particular idea, but like refusing to themselves bring it up because they don't want to be the bad person. And so in the end, you know, the codependent person, or the person who, you know, makes the first move, I guess, ends up sort of becoming the martyr by bringing it up, and then, you know, they're the bad person, or they're the one at fault because, you know, they suggested the idea. Well, yeah, having a supportive partner, having someone you can work with versus someone who, yeah, they're very different. Well, not very different, not drastically different, but definitely a different outcome. Relying on and having support from your partner, even if that support is like more one-sided, is still okay, as long as it is not unhealthy, as long as it doesn't, you know, push into the realm of too far, which does happen. You would like to be reliable and be able to rely on your partner. You don't want to be codependent. That's fair. I would say that's a pretty good basis for most relationships. If you can, in and of yourself, be like manage yourself well. That's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. There we go. If you can manage and maintain yourself comfortably, let's zoom in a little. There we go. Then that's a huge step in the right direction. Because that's often the thing that that people looking for relationships fall down with. They're like, oh, you know, I've got to, you know, go and meet people and do these things, and then I'll find the perfect person. It's like, well, no, what you should do is work on yourself first. Be fully comfortable with yourself. Be fully comfortable being single. Love yourself. Be able to support yourself first. And then when the right person comes along, they'll be able to see that you have your shit together. They'll be able to see that you are comfortable and confident in yourself, which is very attractive. And then if they need support, you will be able to support them because you'll have your shit together, and they will be able to support you because they won't be like completely trying to prop you up out of nothing. You'll already have most of your shit together, and they'll just be adding extra support on top of it. That's a much healthier relationship. It's a very difficult thing to do though, because it requires you to have your shit together, and it requires like a level of self-understanding that not a whole lot of people get to. I think me and Lizzie Bell strike a pretty good balance with that. She's constantly picking on me for not letting her help as much. But we do a pretty good job of supporting each other in like the self-support that we already give for ourselves. And it's made a pretty good relationship. We're pretty awesome. At the moment, you're in a healthier mind frame, you're independent, you love yourself, but if you end up in your stress state again, you want to learn how to manage yourself better. Yeah, we're goals, yeah. We are definitely couples goals. I think, like, basically everybody who has been around us for any length of time has expressed that in some form, that, like, we're what they ideally would want from a relationship. And we do occasionally have our issues, but like, we're pretty good at trying to sort them out because we're introspective, because we, you know, try and stop and think and put ourselves in the other person's shoes and listen to what the other person is saying. And also we don't really like conflict, so we end up sort of trying to sort out whatever the issue is pretty quickly, which is good. At least in my mind. That doesn't really work for everybody, but it works pretty well for us. I'm happy about that. Because I've been with some people who definitely can't do that, and it's so frustrating. Because we have our own bubble. You don't just live in your own bubble. Inclusive without being invasive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got our own thing going on, each of us, and we very much want the other person to be welcomed in our space and to come and join us with the thing. But we're also happy just doing our own thing. Like, we will as happily be on our own as we would be like together with the other person. I think that's important, because if you can't do that, and then you're constantly having to like entertain yourself or constantly having to entertain the other person, you're just not like actually comfortable in the space together. That's when things start getting weird and difficult. When are we coming down? Oh, that's a good question. Yes, we do need to come down and celebrate with you. That is very true. I want to come down soon. I'm missing everybody. I haven't hung out with any of my Sydney-based friends, like, nearly enough. It's starting to do my head in slightly. But trying to think when we're next down. We're next down for a very short period of time. We're down for like a couple of days, midweek coming up. And that doesn't really work for anybody. And And then we've got some stuff up here that we've got a wedding up here that we have to worry about, and Mel's work and stuff, so we can't really cut down too much. But, you know, with the attitude to COVID being what it is, we're kind of gonna have to just suck it up and come down at some point. Because it's not getting any better. You happy to go out midweek? Okay. Well, we'll see what we can organise then. I'll have to check with Mel what the plan is. What about you?
Did I hear my name?
Yeah.
Like my actual name?
Yeah, you had your actual name. Megs is asking when we're down next. And I said that we were down very, very briefly midweek coming up.
Yeah. The weekend of the 12th will also be down very, very briefly, probably, for a birthday party, but we have to be back on the Sunday. Maybe
I don't know if that one works.
the Friday evening.
Friday evening on the... what would that be? The 11th?
Double check.
Potentially.
Friday evening or even the Saturday morning.
Friday evening, Saturday morning. Yeah, we could maybe do that. We'll collect dates and get back to you. I think is the go. We'll find you a well ventilated space at work to stop the COVIDs. Them covies. School started back up, but I haven't got a shift yet, which I'm in two minds about at the moment. I'm happy I don't have to go in, but we are supposed to be saving money for various things. We're potentially going to France, which is kind of insane. My godsister's wedding is happening. I know, right? And it's happening October-ish. And because of the pandemic, we didn't really get the opportunity to go and do the honeymoon that we really wanted. Because we wanted to go to Japan. And so this is a pretty good opportunity to just be like, well, fuck it, we have to go for the wedding, or we have the opportunity to go for the wedding, so we might as well spend the money and go. It does throw back some of our plans. It puts a couple of things on hold that we wanted to do, like Melbourne, moving to Melbourne wise kind of thing. And then there's also the COVID issue, and I think the COVID issue is probably the thing that might stop us from going. So we're still mulling over for now, but that's an option of a thing that we might be doing not very soon, but in the future, in the futures. Supposedly going to Vic and South Australia sometime this year, and potentially Denmark. Cool. We have friends in Vic and South Australia. Vic is lots of fun. We like Victoria. South Australia is pretty fun. Slightly less fun. But still not bad. Mushrooms do be taking you places. Yeah. Apparently. Maybe I should have gotten into mushrooms. Maybe I should have become a mushroomologist. I know it's actually mycologist, but... And yes, there is always time to retrain, but I think tattoo is my calling. I think this is my calling. I don't think although running around a forest and like picking mushrooms. No, that's your job. Well, there you go then. See, I can't take it because it's yours. Yeah, running around forests and like hunting mushrooms would be pretty cool. That's something I'd do. Alright. There's our mushies. Let's clean them up a little. Nope, that is not what I wanted to do. There we go. Love my like eclectic taste in music. It's so weird. Don't touch your shrooms. That's it, I'm gonna touch all the shrooms now. Gonna go out into the forest and just touch random shrooms. What could possibly go wrong? Ooh. Try and get some of this artifacting off. So that's a little bit cleaner. That's what I get for using the wrong brush. But it's fine. Alright, let's... Can I not do that? Oh, yeah, there we go. I can just zoom in and out. Cool. So, if we made this... Ooh. 100%. Actual size. Oh, there's some fun things we can do here. Let's just go with the smaller is for now. But this is... Oh, that's no good. Rotation 0. There we go. Fixed. Fixed! Yeah, so at 100, that's what it's going to look like. And they'll wiggle back and forth. So I like that. I think that's good. Just steer clear of the death cap. I will do my very best to steer clear of the death cap, because I don't want to die. Oh, the zombie fungus. Yes! The zombie fungus is the weirdest, coolest thing. Like, for those who don't know, the zombie fungus is essentially a fungus that, like, infects insects, usually ants, and it, like, takes over their brain. I don't know if it kills them straight away or not. I think it doesn't. But it basically affects their nervous system and causes them to... there's a few different varieties of these, like, zombie fungi. But the one that most people know is it'll make them, like, climb up to the top of the tree and then, like, bite down. And then they die, and the fungus, sort of the spore of the fungus, will extend, the mushroom head will extend out and then release spores that then fall down onto the colony below, the ant colony below, and sort of repeat the cycle. But it entirely takes over their brain. And there's also other versions of it that affect other types of insects and small, I think, rodents, and it basically like makes them want to go near predators so that the predators get the fungus and spread it to more of the animals. It's weird, but I love the idea of it. Keeps them alive long enough that the insect can climb to the highest point before it fruits. For sporulation. Yes, that makes sense. Very cool. Yeah, I would wanna check one of those out. I think I'm gonna leave these things here for now, just for a second. See if I can figure out the animation. Toolbars. Ooh, animation timeline. Oh, there's all sorts of funky things happening now. Zombie protist that infects rodents so that it becomes attracted to cat's pee. Yes! Yeah, that's one. That's the one I was thinking of. Weird world that we live in. Alright. Let's stick this here. And we want to wonder if we can like tween frames. This might be a for on another stream thing, but I want to animate these to wiggle like our red caps there, because that would be awesome. So with the red mushies, I had to do this all like manually by hand each frame and redraw each frame. I'm hoping that in this one that I might actually be able to fudge it a little. Let's go to 3. Try this again. I can duplicate the layers. Yeah, I guess that's something I could do. Just duplicate and then shift it slightly. I'm hoping that if I just do it here, I can do like tweening. I can change things. Transform tool. There we go. Shift. Saturate ever so slightly. Oh, I don't know where the. Oh, just press enter. Okay. And then the same for the mushy color. We want to free transform. That did not do what I thought it would do. Days of playing with Adobe Flash? Yeah. Old school, old school. Those were the days. Where is my history tool? I'm only just learning this one. Not history. I'll do history. Where did that open up? Mask. Tools? Nope. I don't know. This might be a next time thing. Down the bottom. That's not it. No. Losing my mind. Oh, underneath the animation tool. Right. There we go. Bop. There we go. Fixed. Problem solved. Yep, got it. Thank you. So, you then can't see... Oh, interesting, interesting. There is a toolbar that I'm bringing up. There's an animation toolbar here in my dock. Yeah, it's not coming up. Alright, interesting. Okay, maybe if I stick it on something. There we go. So this is what I was looking at before. This is the animation toolbar. Let's just wiggle you there. And so my plan was... Ooh, duplicate frame. Duplicate frame. Ah, here it is. This is it. This is it. Let's do, say, 10 frames of this. Yeah. No, it seems to duplicate all the layers if I do anything on them. Oh, maybe not. Oh, that would be weird. If I change... Let's test. So we'll take the top of this one. I'm just going to shift it slightly. Transform. And I just want to wiggle it over slightly. Hey! Kaiju! Thank you very much for the subscription, my buddy. Spam the bees for Kaiju. Whoop. We'll get some wiggly mushes in there as well. Whoop. There we go. Bees and mushies and wiggly butts. Oh, awesome. 4 months subscribed. Too kind, my friend. Too kind. Alright. Where were we? Alright, mush layer 2. And we're going to take this. And we're basically just doing the same thing. Transform. wiggle it that way slightly. Just enough so that it's lined up there. It does seem to have only yeah, it's only the color layer that's moving. You are right. Okay. Duplicate there. Nope. Oh, I've got to go in and do it manually for each layer. Oh, that was weird. I did a thing. I think I'm gonna stop fucking with the animation tool. Yeah, this is painful. I'm gonna have play around with this later because clearly something's going on here that I don't understand. And this is not the most intuitive system. So we'll just get rid of that, and we're just gonna clean this up, I think. So we want it so that it's a rustified on the back, so that we can have this be a an icon. This music makes you want to smoke a cigar and then rob a casino. Track before, not so much this one. Yeah. Yeah, I added some more things to the playlist, so it was a little different, but here we go. This will be a little bit more of that feel, I think. Where were we? Let's fix up the. Do I need to fix up much? Maybe I'll just darken a couple of things, put a shadow into it. And then I think we're gonna then move on to something else. Oof, that's giant. That's tiny. That's a little better. Casino is a dangerous gamble. Yeah. You have one in New South Wales and it's too much of a risk, yeah. I mean, made more of a risk by the fact that, like, the people who run the fuck up are way more concerned about how it affects them and their business. And so they have gotten the police to basically side with them on fucking everything. So yeah, if you tried to rob it, I have a feeling you'd have a bad time. But that should probably go without saying, shouldn't it? Liking how this is coming across. I think we'll just darken these mushies a little. So mushy 3. Mushy 2. Mush 1. It won't go really perfectly and you won't be charming George Clooney win over Julia Roberts? Probably not. It's worth a try though. Anything's possible if you put your mind to it, Kaiju. There we go. It's on the wrong layer again. You can't even gamble all your way through because the house always wins? Yeah. Yeah, that's a problem. Seems like a solid proposition to me. I reckon they'd take it. let's save this. And then we can work on a second something. Something. Save as. Mush log. And then we want to turn off the background and export as a GIF. Mush log. Icon. Let's see if that worked. It didn't. Curious. Let's try this again. Mush log icon. Filter. Weird. It is doing a weird. Don't know what that's about. Let's try this as a PNG. See what that does. There we go. Fixed it. Cool. He wasn't in the movie you're referencing? Yeah. Well, that's a good reason not to use him. It's your bedtime, you must get your beauty sleep. That is fair. We probably won't be streaming for too much longer. We've been going for about an hour and 40 minutes. So I think we're going to do one more probably interesting image. Some other mush image. And then I think we're done for the night. But thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good time. Good night. You're welcome. So, for those who don't know, particularly Kaiju, who wasn't here before, we're doing Funguary. It's a month-long exploration of fungi and mushrooms and all the fun things therein. So we're just going to play around. We last time, well, not last time, but last drawing session we did this one. Did that not do what I wanted it to do? No. Let's try this way. Last stream session we did this one. The Mush Lads. Which turned out pretty well, actually. I wouldn't mind fixing up and cleaning up some of these last few bits. And then, I don't know, maybe putting a background on it. But these are going to be turned into Valentine's Day prints. And then we've got the lovely Patat. Oh my, yes. Then we have Patat for Zone 3 Gamer, and then we had this this Techno Viking, which was just me playing around with, because I'm using a new program. I'm using Critter, I think it's called. I always forget. Yeah, Critter is the name of the program. It's basically a Photoshop knockoff, but made by actual artists. So that's nice. It's a free open source number, and basically I was working through doing this. I wouldn't mind coming in and just cleaning up some of this and making it look a little better. But I'm happy with how this looks at the moment, so for now it's good enough. But we're going to move on to doing more mush-based things. So this is the one we worked on today, this little mush log that we're going to then animate. So it's actually, where is our 100%? That's what it actually looks like, size-wise. So that's why it looks all pixelated when we get this big. But it's going to be a little, animated icon that we're going to most likely put on our stream, like the other wiggly mushrooms are doing at the moment. But I'm not sure what we want to do now. We're just gonna play around, I think. This is my opportunity to just have a play. If you have an idea of something, yeah, just wiggling back and forth. I think just these three at the top here will just sort of be wiggling back and forth. I think is probably the idea, like our little red ones are. But I think that will be a nice addition for our February streams, and then in the future, various different streaming options. But yeah, if you have a thing that you would like me to draw, please do let me know. I've been playing the new Pokemon, Legend of Arceus. Arceus? I never know. And I'm really enjoying it. So if you haven't, you should check that out. But the thing that actually reminded me, well, one of the things, because the other one was Lizzie Bell, because she's the best. One of the things that reminded me that it was February and I was supposed to be drawing mushroom-based things was the Parasect in the game. I don't know how many legs Parasect has, but I think we'll give him 3. That makes sense. How is it? You've been on the fence about getting it? You heard it's a bit crafty. So, I think, personally, it's really good. But it depends what you want from a Pokemon game. So, it's almost everything that I would want from a Pokemon game. But the problem is I quite like RPG-esque systems. I have always thought that the turn-based aspect of Pokemon was kind of its, like, least strong factor. I really liked the wild zones of Sword and Shield, and I quite enjoyed the different things that some of the new games have brought in, like for changing play style, changing how you actually play the game. It's quite RPG. It's got elements of the, Let's Go Eevee thing, and Let's Go Pikachu, and then it's got the Sun and Moon, the Sword and Shield wild area thing going for it. It still has turn-based combat, but the turn-based combat is affected pretty heavily by how you interact with the Pokemon before you get into combat, because you can see them in the world, you can interact with them in the world prior to actually battling them, and you can choose not to battle them. You can choose not to encounter them, instead just kind of run around trying to avoid their attacks, because in this version of the game, instead of just trying to attack your Pokemon, they also try to attack you, which I think is a great addition to the game, because it always seemed weird to me that like all of the characters used to talk about how dangerous Pokemon were, and that, you know, you shouldn't go into the long grass, and then you never actually encounter a Pokemon that attacks you. You only encounter Pokemon that attack your Pokemon. That like never made sense to me. So in this game, you actually do. You weren't a fan of the wild zones. It got a bit grindy to keep going back to find things, but you get why people like it. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that. It does change, like the Pokemon in an area change based on like weather and time, so like day and night and things like that. And part of it is a little grindy. Basically the system is like your Pokedex, rather than catching one Pokemon and then it gives you all the information for that Pokemon, you have a series of tasks that you have to complete. So you have to catch X amount, or defeat X amount, or catch a male and a female version and then evolve one of them, and basically that once you've completed enough of those tasks, and there's like 10 or so tasks and you have to complete like 3 of them or whatever, then it gives you the Pokedex entry for that Pokemon, and then you basically are rewarded for that. So you earn money by filling out the Pokedex, is essentially what happens. You are going into different areas to catch Pokemon and then battle them. You get XP for catching and for battling, and then also for collecting materials, and the materials are used for crafting, so it is a little crafty, but I don't dislike that about the game, because you have an inbuilt crafting system, or at least you get an inbuilt crafting system pretty early on, and it allows you to like make Pokeballs, make potions and revives and things, and all of those are by things that you can interact with in the world. Like you can go and pick up the various resources that you need, or by battling Pokemon. If you battle certain types of Pokemon, they will drop things. So they'll drop like a stone required for a Pokeball, or they'll drop the apricorns, or whatever. You can also buy those, so you don't actually have to do the grindy system if you don't want, but it does then cost the money, and the money comes from capturing Pokemon. So there's a kind of trade-off. I definitely don't think the game would be for everyone. There'd be a lot of people who don't like how the system is set up, just because there is an aspect of the grindy thing. It's got a little bit of the Pokemon Snap dynamic to it, where you kind of keep going back to the same location to find new things or do new things in the area. There are definitely new things that come up, so it's not just like doing the same thing over and over and over again. But I can see why people wouldn't like that necessarily. But I enjoy the RPG-ness of it. I think it's good. The cutscenes are annoying. It's pretty in depth. It's a pretty vastly different system to the original games, with just enough of the original game still in it that like it's still very much Pokemon. It's still noticeably Pokemon, but they've done a very different thing with it. I like it. I think it's good. I would, if you're not sure, like after hearing all of that, you're still not sure, I would check out like a playthrough or a review or something of just like the first little bit. You're not gonna lose too much of the storyline by watching someone play through the first bit of it, and you'll be able to see pretty quick like what the crafting mechanics are like, what the catch mechanics are like and stuff, because you can either battle and then throw a Pokeball like you usually do, or without going into the battle system, you can actually manually throw a ball at a Pokemon just in the wild. So they'll be like just chilling around, and you have to sneak up on it, and like not get noticed, and then arc the ball. So there's like an actual aiming mechanic, and then arcing the ball to hit the Pokemon, and then obviously it does the Pokeball thing of, you know, trying to catch it. And depending on what Pokemon it is, and you know how aggressive they are, if you've done anything to them already, if you've used any berries or tools or anything, it changes how they react. So they can either react poorly, or they can be like stunned by it and not respond, or whatever. But yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I'm not sure about the storyline so far. It's not really grabbing me massively. I think I probably would have preferred like a Gym Elite Four type structure a little more. And I'm hoping that like when they do future game releases, that they potentially follow this line of like the RPG mechanic alongside the original game. I think that would be an interesting system. A bit too intense for the amount of time you have to play it. I've been playing it in 30-minute to hour chunks over the past couple of days, and I've gotten a decent amount of things done in it. Your Pokemon get XP for like basically you doing things in the world as well as battling. So like most of my Pokemon are up to level 40, and I've only really been playing it for like 3 days, on and off. And I'm like, you would be better served spending a bit more time playing it, if you care about the story. But if you just care about like completing the Pokédex, which is one of the main things of the game, like that's what you're trying to do in the game. I think you could easily do that with a limited amount of time. So it's up to you. But it would definitely take away from like doing other things, which is always the tricky thing, finding time to do these things. I'm trying to remember, I think it's mostly red, and then it's let's put the layer underneath. Pretty sure it's mostly red, and then it's white in these patchy zones, is it not? It's like an orangey red, actually. That's probably a little closer to the coloration. Yeah, I think it's fun. I'm enjoying it. There is still a couple of things that I probably would have done differently had I had any level of control over how they made the game. But I think it's an improvement to the Wild Zone system that Sword and Shield had. And I think it's a reasonable... it's a reasonable solution to the, like, oh, things are getting stale with the Pokemon franchise, what do we do next kind of thing. Because they obviously tried to, like, shake things up with Sun and Moon to have the, like, oh, it's not actually Elite Four and gyms, and then there's these, like, power Pokemon that you've got to defeat. So that makes an appearance in this game. But it's handled a little bit better, and it's much more RPG as a system, which is, yeah, interesting, fun. But like I said, I enjoy that RPG element, so. I'm trying to work out what I'm going to have to do for, well, not have to do, but what I'm going to do for my tattoo system. So I have some Pokemon tattoos, and basically what I've done so far, I'm not finished it because unfortunately COVID kind of fucked me over a little. But the plan had been in the past to get a tattoo for each Pokemon game. And basically how I've been doing it is for each game that I've completed, I have gotten like my favorite badge, my favorite gym badge. Game Freak kind of fucked me over when some of their games don't have gyms, a la Sun and Moon, which was a little frustrating, but that's fine. Because they've still got their like island trial things that I can use, all the stuff to pick a good image for it. Sun and Moon did an not Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield did an interesting one with theirs. So I'm gonna have to figure out how I want that one to look. But I'm gonna have to try and work out what I do for this one, because it doesn't have any, like, as far as I can tell, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to. I don't think it's going to change suddenly in the middle of the game, but there doesn't appear to be like a gym battle function. There is stars, like a star ranking. Can't kind of similar to the thing that they've got in Pokemon Snap. So that might be an option. We could do that, I guess. Yeah, for those who don't know, I will see if I've got the thing here. I don't. Oh. Where is? Is it against other trainers, or is it just you versus the wild Pokemon? There are other trainers. There's various different interactions you have with other trainers. You have this kind of like semi-rival that you battle occasionally, but she's never been a challenge. And I'm assuming they make her a he if you choose a female. But I don't know that for sure because I haven't tested it yet. But yeah, you verse her a couple of times. She's never been a challenge. You verse a couple of other trainers who have slightly better Pokemon, but nothing has been like a significant issue yet. The biggest challenge I've had is the wild Pokemon, like the environment. So I think that's the trick that they're going for. What on earth are we listening to? Maybe not. Maybe we'll open the first gym at the end. Yeah, maybe, actually. That would kind of be cool. So the storyline, if you don't mind me ruining at least the first 5 minutes of the game, you get sucked through like a time space vortex. You're clearly from, I don't know, present day, but definitely more present day, and you get thrown back in time in this like alternate world or previous world, and it's supposed to be, I believe it's the past of Sinnoh, the Sinnoh region. So there is the possibility that you could open the first gym there, but I don't know if it's actually like within the Pokemon reality, as in like the canon game reality, or whether it's in this kind of like alternate universe made by one of the Pokemon gods. It's kind of hard to tell what they're going for with it, but you know, it's an interesting idea. I like the concept. Yeah, so like it is a period game. They are going for the like, you know, this is the ancient version of this place, but the main character who we're playing seems like he's come from, or you know, if you choose male or female, but like the main character seems like it comes from present day wherever in the Pokemon world. And I think the idea behind that was to try and be like, well, you are playing this game and you are from the present, so let's have, you know, the main character be kind of like a kid at a time, a person at a time. And that kind of makes sense to a degree, but it does make a kind of weird play on things. I like it. It's an interesting take on the Pokemon series. Alright, what else are we going to draw in here? I think this little square, like that, is going to be a something. I'll post that online, because I like that. And we might make one more just to get ahead of the days, because this is day 2 of Funguary. So something down here, I think. I don't know what though. Yeah, I think quite a few people thought it was just going to be a period game, and then there's a little bit more to it, which, yeah, makes it interesting, at least. I don't know what I'm doing there. Got distracted. Let's get rid of this. Kind of like this a little. So let's try and play back with that a little. There we go. Get rid of this. I have all my brushes. Yeah, perfect. So you get access to the various like Pokeball type things, and they start kind of different, and then they just sort of become the standard balls, but there are some different ones, and they do some interesting things with it.
Standard balls.
Yeah, so they got like the standard Pokeball, and then they got like Great Ball. I'm assuming you're gonna end up with like the recipe to make an Ultra Ball, which I think is weird. I think you should have probably stayed with just the Pokeball, the standard Pokeball, and not have like the higher tiers, because it seems like that's a development in technology that doesn't actually fit the time frame of the game, like what the game is going for. So I think that's a little weird of a decision. I kind of get why, because it's like, well, those already exist in the game world and people know what they are, so if we just reuse those, then it won't be as much of an issue. And it won't confuse people. And then they've got these new balls that you make. Like a heavy ball and a like a sky ball, a wing ball, and things. Protagonists shouldn't have great balls. Yeah. I mean, it's a kid's game, so it definitely shouldn't be having like wonderful balls. Then they have these like this like a sky ball or wing ball or whatever, and then like a heavy ball, and they like travel different distances. So like as you actually throw them, some of them go like much further because they're super light and accurate, and then other ones are like super close range, like they arc really badly. They're really heavy, but they're more likely to catch. Kind of like that idea better. And if they'd gone with that, just like doubled down on that as a thing, I think that would have been better. You going to bed, my love?
Love, yes.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you. Yeah, it's a weird decision on their part, I think, to have the standard Great Ball, Ultra Ball thing in there. As I play through the game a little further, I think I'll see how it plays out a little bit. But I've been using basically just Pokeballs, the standard Pokeball, which are wood in this game, which is interesting. And then these like wing sky balls that are like, they're good to from a distance hit a Pokemon, so you don't have to be like within their range of vision and alert. So you can like hit them from, you know, up on a cliff top or whatever. Makes it much easier to deal with the Pokemon that like constantly get enraged by your presence. Because there's certain Pokemon that like you can't catch unless you fight them, or you can't throw a ball at them if you're anywhere near them because they just aggro straight away. An interesting like play dynamic, but it does make the game a little frustrating at times. You're like, you just get close to something and it immediately aggroes on you, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Especially if you don't want to catch it or fight it. Like if you don't want to actually be anywhere near it, and you just have to like go past it to get to a Pokemon you do want. But there's only like usually 1 or 2 species of Pokemon like that in each area that are like major aggro. Not sure what I want to do for this exactly in terms of coloration. But we'll figure something out. This mushy is coming together well. I do like this Parasect actually. It came together quite nicely. Gonna have to think of what other interesting mushrooms or mushroom-based things I can draw, because at least 3 more streams worth of this, and then like how many days left is it? 26? 26 more days worth of making mushroom-based artworks. I will be putting these up on my Instagram, most likely. They're not going to be like super well finished things each time, I don't think. Some of them are just going to be like simple, sketchy type things. But I do want to... try and get as many of them done as possible. Does this make you feel like you should be smoking a cigar and sipping on some whiskey? This song. I think that's why I like this playlist so much, because it's just like random stuff that like doesn't really fit, but also gives you like a vibe of just like chilling. Definitely preferably with feet on table, yeah. Just imagining like some smoky room at like a country club or something. If I owned a bar, I'd definitely have a I don't know, I wouldn't call it a gentleman's night, because that's not really what I'm going for. But like, that's kind of the vibe of like, anybody who comes, you're gonna, like, there's gonna be people smoking inside, so you've got to put up with that for one. And then, just like, chill times and like philosophical discussions. If you're not like Socratesing it up, getting your Socrates on, then I don't want to hear it. And then we just have like jazz band, and a concert pianist playing in the background. I'm mildly annoyed by the fact that the move canvas button is the same as my undo button. It's making things difficult. What I can do is rotate my canvas, which is a little weird, but that's a thing. But hey. Doesn't make it much easier to draw like this. Yeah, move canvas is the same as the well, it is on my pen, my tablet pen. There's probably a way to change it, but it's basically what's auto set up on the thing, which is frustrating. Yeah, basically. So you see, it's every time I press the back button, it holds down the move key, which is frustrating. So I'm going to fix that at some point. But other than that, this program is really good. It's significantly better than GIMP, which is what I was using before. And I like GIMP. I like that it's free open source software that's sticking it to Photoshop. And like I've been using GIMP for ages, since like Photoshop version 3, C3. But this is also a open source free doobie-doo, and this one is artist made by artists for artists. So yeah, kind of like this a little better, which I think's fair enough. So this one is called Critter, I believe. Let me double check that. Yes, Critter. I think I have the link here somewhere. Here's that's their download page. You can just navigate the website there if you like. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm liking it so far. It has much of the same functionality as Photoshop. It seems to have fairly intuitive system. There are parts of it that I'm definitely thinking aren't the best. But yeah, it's pretty nice. It's not too bare bones. It's comfortably set up. Like, this workstation is pretty good, but it does have different options. So if you want to set up the window for like different things, you can't see that, but there's a workspace button that I'm clicking here and it's giving me options. So if you need to set it up for something other than just your standard drawing, it's come out with some interesting things. Oh, speaking of drawing, I don't know why, but I'm assuming you're a Star Wars fan, Kaiju. Or at least have some level of knowledge of the the Star Wars franchise. Have you watched Book of Boba yet? Do you have any level of interest in that as a thing? Because if you've watched it, I have a complaint. That's a fair assumption. Cool. I have a complaint about Book of Boba, and I don't know, other than Cog, I don't know anybody who's watched it yet that I can, like, ask. And Cog has a very specific love of Star Wars and Star Wars based things, and he quite likes Book of Boba, so I'm not sure it's necessarily something I should bring up to him. You haven't watched it, no? Okay. Well, if you ever do, if you get around to watching it, you'll have to let me know later. But basically, my issue with it, my concern with it, not my only one, because there are a few, but my one issue with it is that at the end of every episode, they have a series of concept art drawings for each scene. Not all the scenes, but like the major ones. And in all but like 3 cases throughout the series so far, there's like 5 episodes so far. In each of those, every single one of the episodes, there's been a point where I've been like, the concept art looks cooler and would have been a better scene if they'd set it up this way, or had the characters designed this way, than how they actually did it. Like watching through the concept art at the end of the show, I can't help but feel like, oh, I wish they'd actually gone with that concept, because it looks better. And I don't know if that's just me nitpicking, so I want to get someone else's opinion, someone who, like, also is not, like, super invested in the series, because, like, if I ask a major fan, a big fan, I think I'm probably just going to get the same response that I'm thinking I will get, which is that, you know, it's good and shut up. But like, yeah, there's just bits in it that I'm like, oh, the character would have looked so much cooler if they'd kept that design, or the scene would have looked so much cooler if they'd set it up that way, or oh, the choreography would have been so much better if they had done what it is that the characters are doing in this image currently. And there's just a lot of that, of this like, oh, it could have been, like, having seen it, it almost, like, doesn't ruin it for me, but I can't help feeling like, oh, like, they could have done this, because it was clearly an idea they had. Like, they could have done it better, almost. But I don't know, I feel like I'm nitpicking. So I need a second opinion. I need someone's second opinion. Alright, those are my 2 mushies. It is now 10:30. We will potentially raid into someone. Yeah, James is there. You generally find that concept art can be cooler because it's so raw and imaginative before it hits the wall and says, no, this is too different, it won't sell. Yeah, exactly. And that's my, like, but even things that are like, that aren't that out there in terms of concept, because like, I don't think that they're that wild of ideas, but clearly, like, someone has an issue with it, or someone go, all merged up. But clearly they just decided not to go with it in the end, and that's fine, I guess. But I can't help thinking that. This no, that's not gonna do. Can I from clipboard? There we go. Create. Hey, and then I can save this. Export as a Shepik. Call him Parasect. That's been saved, and then this one, do the same again. Sorry, this is me just saving my work now. Cool. There we go. Boop. New from clipboard. Export, and call it Mushboy. Done. Alright, so that's what we've done today. Our lovely mushy images. So I hope everybody had fun with Funguary, and we will catch everybody next time. We're gonna raid into our lovely James B. Barra. So make sure you give him some love when we get in there. And I'll catch everybody tomorrow. We are doing probably a Valheim stream. It's going to be our Thursday Sandbox Survival. Yeah, always nice to catch you, Kaiju. Thank you for coming. Much appreciated. We're going to do our little raid thing here, so you can copy and paste this if you like. There we go. Yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be streaming again, and then after that, I don't know what we're going to be doing this weekend. There may be some more streams for the mushroom stuff, maybe not. We'll see. Thanks for joining. Catch you guys later. Bye.